Welcome to my neighborhood. My name's Kim Contreras. As you drive through the Hildago community, I invite you to notice all the stories. They look like normal homes and places you'd see anywhere maybe, but to us, when we pass by them, we see stories that reflect the larger picture of God's creativity and love. And at the heart of the community, as you turn onto Millbrick, you'll notice Hildago Community School. This is the group that welcomed us here, parents and teachers who are advocating and loving this community long before we knew the names and faces we do today. It was through their prayers and advocacy for the community that God used them to draw our attention to this spot. We joined them as they had weekly Bible clubs and carports, as they made calls to City Hall about water in the streets, and we learned much as we sat in those conversations. On 5th Street, I remember a family, Christina and Norma. I passed their old apartment, proud to know this family of 12 who lived upstairs. It was through their involvement in Bible Club that it led us to birth the tutoring component of what we do. These industrious students who would do so well in school would come by our house wanting help with their homework. Their parents, who spoke Oaxacan and Spanish, found it difficult to help with their English homework. Through the years, we watched them pursue violin lessons, carry loads of books, immigration concerns, and the joy of watching them complete high school and then go on to college. Today, loving Jesus and living in a home with room and space. I also think of a tiny apartment on Bond Street next door to our community center, sitting there with the smells of lemongrass and chicken spilling out the door. And Grandma, who shared her stories of working with our soldiers during the Vietnam War, telling us how she hid them under mats and listened on the radio for Viet Cong activities so she could get them to safety, and praying that God would help her as she gave them directions. As these stories unfurled, I couldn't help but feel that I was in the presence of greatness, meeting someone like Corrie ten Boom of Southeast Asia. And how strange to go back thinking I could hear more stories when she had moved the next week. One of the realities of this beautiful community is the transience and mobility, to pick up and move at a moment's notice. And in that, it has birthed an appreciation for the present that I didn't know I needed, and a deeper trust in the truth that the God who watches over his will to perform it will bring to completion the things that he starts. I think about Marcelino, bearded and 11 years older, stopping by our gate during spring break at our community center on Bond Street, recounting his years across the street and memories of his sister who now is with Jesus, living in the apartments. I think about him as a child, as he described the community center as a place where he could be safe. And I listen with joy as he recounts his love for Jesus today and the leadership position he has in his church and his purposeful employment with an at-risk youth center. Together we laugh about his mom and the way she kept tabs on all the neighborhood kids, checking in on them and making sure they had dinner, sometimes at her table with a drug dealer or a prostitute, displaying a kingdom life before her young son, who's now in his 20s and pursuing Jesus on his own. As you continue down my neighborhood, you'll notice Belmont Street, full of automotive shops and car repair places. But if you look closely in the corner, you'll see young girls who are there often because they don't have a choice, often because someone is pressuring them to sell their bodies. It is these young women that I've been privileged to meet and get to know, to hear their stories too, and to offer them a way off, and to hear how they love Jesus even while they're out there, often asking us to pray for safety. One of those young girls, Felicity, lives on my block now. I met her on Parkway Drive, but now she's a neighbor. I get to talk to her, we get to interact, I get to hear about her new job at the furniture store and the hope that she has that maybe she won't need to be out there again. I'm grateful for these relationships and the way that they've helped form my understanding of what the kingdom is like. On our western border sits the Romaine Playground. This safe space is where children and teens can play basketball, soccer. Often you'll see families along the edges with picnics, enjoying the green space in our community. It is also where many youth encounter their first police officer without danger involved. So, this is my neighborhood. If you'd like to join us, come see a tutoring session, come be a part of a community meal, give us a call, or stop by our center. We'd love to see you.